some interesting things going on. I know y'all saw the picture. You see the title. Wonder where I'm going with this. You wonder? All right, let's get it.
People's insides look exactly like this. This is stagnant waters, a stagnant lymphatic system. And when you don't move your body, you don't breathe properly, and you eat mucus-forming toxic foods, the blood glycates and the lymphatic system stagnates. This is where you're going to attract parasites and manifest disease. It doesn't just happen because you eat a parasitic, dirty lettuce. It happens because you cultivate a dirty inside. So to learn more about this, comment the word lymph, and we'll send you more information on how you can actually cleanse your lymphatic system. Most people's in.
So what? I can't have pizza? I just had it yesterday. It's called exercise, man. You know, move around, balance. You guys need to get that book, Eat Right for Your Type. So all this extra stuff is unnecessary.
What if I told you the Power Rangers weren't invented? They were discovered. In 1975, visionary and creator Shotaro Ishimori launched the world's first Super Sentai series. But Ishimori didn't just brainstorm the idea. During a trip abroad, he gained access to a private antiquities collection and translated a set of forbidden, uncatalogued Sumerian cuneiform tablets. What he read terrified and fascinated him. A true story of ancient, color-coded warriors wielding godlike technology to protect Earth. And according to the forbidden version of the story, Ishinomori realized something chilling. The Rangers were not fiction. They were bloodlines. 5 ancient families descended from beings once described as gods, each one carrying a different color, a different oath, and a different weapon system designed to activate only when humanity faced total annihilation. Not politics, not normal wars, not daily human chaos, only extinction-level threats. So now we're going to dive into the story of 5 protectors, the ancient Anunnaki bloodlines, that may have inspired one of the most iconic superhero teams.
Hey, I got this from the sister, None of Your Business. See, she be finding some stuff
ever created. Because if the story is true, the question is no longer who created the Power Rangers. The real question is, who are they protecting us from? We're going to dive into the rest of the file in a second. But first, a quick honest update about the channel. If you've noticed that hundreds of videos vanished, here's the truth. YouTube's recent crackdown hit my channel hard a few months ago, and I was demonetized. Honestly, it was a brutal hit monetarily, but it was also the exact push I needed to finally step in front of the camera and face my own fears and evolve as a content creator. But to keep exploring these dark, speculative rabbit holes without relying on an unpredictable algorithm or changing policies to survive, I had to build my own space we actually own. So I didn't delete those missing videos. I moved them into a private censor support me during this massive transition so I can keep making the content for you. And this
cracked clay tablet, burnt Shotaro Ishinomori Go Ranger aired.
The link to join our inner circle is in the description and comments. Thank you all for adapting and growing with me. So let's get back to the case.
1 year before Himitsu Sentai Go Ranger aired, the legend says Shotaro Ishinomori was shown an artifact that should not have existed in any private collection. It was a cracked clay tablet, burned around the edges, sealed in a black wooden case. No museum label, no catalog number, no academic record, just a warning. The collector claimed the tablet came from an old smuggling route connected to Mesopotamian ruins. Most people in the room saw nothing but damaged clay and strange markings. But Ishinomori knew those markings were not random. They were cuneiform, the ancient writing system of Sumer, Akkad, and Babylon. As he studied the tablet, he found one phrase repeated.
What if I told
Interesting. Interesting.
Miles from here, they said there was a young white man who was attacking the police, who was running, hitting, and they de-escalated.
That police is running.
Did you see that? That's what I'm talking
Oh,
about. You see how he swung and socked that motherfucker upside the head.
And they took him alive. Yeah, you got 4 police officers out there, and they can't take him alive. They have to execute him. Miles from here, they said there was a young white man who was attacking the police, who was running, hitting, and they de-escalated and they took him alive.
Oh my goodness. This dude ain't got no shoes on, no shirt, he in shorts, and that police is running fully armed. I'll be damned.
Nigga scared.
I'll be damned.
Did that motherfucker not look scared?
Man, he was terrified. Oh, shit me, man. Got to be shitting me.
Close the doors.
What's going on?
Close the doors.
What's going on? Elamine Unscripted, KV Media back in the building once again with another video. The quote that you're reading below is a quote from Margaret Sanger. The mass of ignorant Negroes still breed carelessly and disastrously, so that the increase among Negroes, even more than the increase among whites, is from that portion of the population least intelligent and fit and least able to rear their children properly. You know, Margaret Sanger was a eugenicist. Really, this is somebody that was implemented to really eradicate the black race. There have been recipients of her awards, but I want y'all to see something, and I'm gonna scroll through the recipients. I want you to see who some of the winners, some of the recipients have been over the course of history. So I'm just gonna scroll. We just scrolling, y'all. Kathleen Turner, that's the actress chick, I think. So let's scroll. Let's go. Phil Donahue, the TV show guy. Once again, keep in mind the mindset of Margaret Sanger. Let me see here. Would you look at that? The Reverend Martin Luther King. And I know some of you all won't like it, but I want you to just understand the burning house that Martin Luther King said he felt he brought his people into.
He said to me, I said, what's the matter, Mark? You seem very agitated. He said, well, I am. Because I've come upon a thought that I don't know how to deal with at this moment. I said, well, what is it? He said, we fought long for integration. It looks like we're going to get it. I think we get the laws. He says, but I'm afraid that I've come upon something I don't know quite what to do with. I'm afraid that we're integrating into a burning house.
Okay, so I know people that heard that quote a bunch of times. But what he said prior, what he just said, this brother just said, I forget his name. Guy from the Bahamas. The actor in the what's that banana song? That was his name. Anyway, but what he said he was telling him, he said he think that we're going to get the laws. But this is in the 60s. What laws? You see what I'm saying? That's the interesting thing about what people kind of overlook in regards to our people, that we was not in none of these laws. Now, the other part, I would say, seemed funny, but it wasn't funny. How these police is running from the white boy, so-called white boy, and then in the same video, stomping out a brother. See what I'm saying?
He knew he was bringing his people into a burning house. The civil rights movement was the nail in the coffin for black people.
See, that's what I'm saying. See, him saying something like that, a lot of people won't like, and it's going to trigger. But what else is it? See what I'm saying? What else could it be? You know? Oops. I still got that thing in the thingamajig. Let me take that down. What else could it be? You see? I mean, it was supposed to set us free or give us equal rights, some shit. But has it? Ask that to yourself.
Whether you want to believe that or not, do the history, do the reading. I'm going to let y'all do with that what you will.
That hit a little bit different right there. Did people know Margaret Sanger? Do I have to bring the video up? Have anybody seen that documentary, Ma'afa 21? Maybe I should just spend a day and we can watch it.
Probable cause is not a feeling. Police don't get to say something felt off and call that probable cause. Constitution requires facts, specific facts, articulable facts. If the officer can't explain what crime they believe happened, what evidence supported it, and why you were connected to it, that wasn't an investigation. That is fishing. Probable cause is not a feeling. Police don't get to say something felt off and call that probable cause. Constitution.
You see what I'm saying? Just because they feel a certain type of way. Hey, get up against that wall. Don't move. That's because they felt a certain type of way. Well, I wonder how they felt when that nigga was hightailing it from a goddamn white boy about to whoop his ass with no shoes on and no t-shirt on and some shorts at his mid-thigh. What did he feel then? He felt he had to get on. Probable cause. Book it.
Requires facts, specific facts, articulable facts. If the officer can't explain what crime they believe happened, what evidence supported it, and why you were connected to it, that wasn't an investigation. That is fishing.
Okay. Let me give you another word. Conspiracy. They love using that word when they're dealing with us. Conspiracy to do this. Conspiracy to do that. Conspired to do that. No facts. But this brother's talking, he's good. That was good talk. Talking real fast. But how you going to be able to get that out in a matter of minutes without blinking? See what I'm saying? Got to be used to that. Now, have I done it before? Well.
You're not going to believe this is happening in the United States. Chinese billionaires are right now paying American women to be surrogates for their babies. Those babies are born.
What? Where's that goddamn little thing? What? They be having these little sound effect thing. What? Oh boy, wait a minute. We got to start that over again. What the what? See what I'm saying?
You're not going to believe.
So don't be mad at a brother when he won't lay up in that little white thing, pink thing right there. Don't be mad. Shit. You know, them pink things come in all shapes and sizes. Races, ethnicities. So you telling me women actually open their legs? Wonder what happens after that. Do they come up missing?
I believe this is happening in the United States. Chinese billionaires are right now paying American women to be surrogates for their babies.
And I remember watching in Law and Order, the original Law and Order. They was doing that. It was showing they was doing that in New York. They had a whole episode on that, where they was paying sisters to have babies. You know what I mean? Why? Remember that old thing they used to say back in the day, like what so-called plantation time, where the Aunt Jemima, them women was breastfeeding them babies and stuff like that? Probably because it was theirs. They actually seemed like the women, those so-called white women back then, you know, had the babies and stuff like that. And then, you know, they was just, you know, then they had the black woman there in Master's house, feeding the baby, teaching the baby, breastfeeding, doing all the things, clothing. That was their baby. They also had the story. We don't know if this stuff is true, but they also had the story that, you know, them women that was coming over was pretty much coming from brothels, you know, had bad wombs, and they couldn't have babies. So they was having the babies through the black woman. You see how crazy that sounds? I mean, that's a whole lot of work. But now these people are still doing this stuff, obviously. I mean, that's what she's saying.
Those babies are born in the United States. So thanks to birthright citizenship, they become US citizens. But then they're taken back to mainland China. They're indoctrinated into Chinese communists and then redeployed here to the United States at age 18 to be voters. Guess how many times the Chinese Communist Party has done this in the past decade? Over 1 million times.
Okay. Now, she want to focus on voting. What we're going to focus on is the fact that these people are coming over here to have babies with sisters. So is it just so-called non-black men doing it with sisters, or is it non-black women doing the same thing with brothers? I don't know. Interesting.
That means in the days and weeks and years to come, there will be 1 million Chinese communists voting in US elections. Talk about an existential threat to the United States. Thanks to Peter Schweizer for his amazing reporting in his newest book. Highly recommend you check it out. You're not going to believe this is happening in the United States.
That's amazing. Hold on, y'all. All right, let's keep going.
So there's fraud from the beginning of the mortgage process. The moment that you sign your application and they take your promissory note, they monetize that behind your back. Okay. And so that note pays off the house. The house has been paid off within the first 45 days of you signing that application. The bank didn't come to you with anything. They can't loan their assets. It's already been proven by modern money mechanics. They can't loan their assets. So where do they get the deposit from? They get the deposit from that promissory note because we, in our natural born standing, we are the creditors. Mm-hmm. The moment they get our signature, they then monetize that instrument, and the house is paid off. So that becomes fraud right then and there because the bank has issued not 1 cent in your property. But like you were saying before, when you don't pay said things like taxes or whatever else, they then kind of come in and say, oh, now we have an interest in the property. But see, then there's the fraud where there's no law that states that we have to register any of our assets with them. Not your house, not your car, not your children, none of that stuff. There is no law. Now they might ask and say you need to or you should, but that's an ask.
I'm going to come back to this. Let me move it down. Let me come back to this. Let me go ahead and pull up. All right, I'm gonna come back to that. Information.
Turns out I didn't know isn't the get out of jail card you think it is. A court figured that out back in 1899. Some of y'all still haven't. There's a legal thing called willful blindness. Translation, if you choose not to look, the law treats it like you knew. You can't unsee your way out of being responsible. Wild concept, I know. Take notes. And psychologists have a name for the thing you're doing on purpose. They call it deliberate ignorance. Studies show that when knowing the truth would mean seeing how your choice hurt someone, about 40% of people go, no, thank you, because understanding it would mean they'd have to do something, and we simply can't have that. There's even a lab study. They literally handed people away not to see who their choice was hurting, and people grabbed it so they could keep being selfish and still feel like a good person. Moral wiggle room. You're not confused, you're comfortable. There's a difference, and deep down, you know it. A thinker named Arendt sat in a courtroom watching a man who helped run something monstrous. And the scary part wasn't that he was some criminal mastermind. He wasn't. He was boring. He just stopped thinking and followed the story he was handed. Sound like anyone you scroll past on Thanksgiving? So no, not thinking is neutral. Choosing not to know is a choice, and choices have a body count. Turns out I didn't know isn't the get out of jail.
We'll come back to that. Case law. All right. Okay. All right. Come back to that.
Watch this.
Moment in history as we're looking at efforts across the country to prevent people from being able to exercise their fundamental rights.
That's right, Kevin Hart. What? Hey, look, this is what we got going on here. Now, I'm going to get into a little bit of those last two, but I'm really going to focus on the interview they just had. It was just an interview to me, what they had with Fauci. And what was going on during that time, 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is where they get us at. We don't want to listen and watch some of these things because it's white people talking. So you get emotional and you don't want to listen to them. But they're telling you exactly what they mean and what they say and how they feel and what they're going to do. Let me play this back. Let's reboot.
Watch this.
Watch this.
Moment in history as we're looking at efforts across the country to prevent people from being able to exercise their fundamental rights. Now,
Everybody recognize that face, huh? It's not AI. She was the press secretary during Biden's administration. And she said that. I remember when she said it. But people be talking so matter of fact about something, and they gloss over that type of conversation that they have. See what I'm saying?
What? We need to come together and do one thing: stop participating. And when we do that, the game is over. When we literally say Monday morning, we're not going to go to work. Imagine if 30 million people didn't go to work Monday. Imagine if 30 million people didn't buy.
This is just a video. I'm not advocating anything. This is what people are saying. See what I'm saying? Me? I like doing business. So let's do business.
Gas on Monday. Imagine if 30 million people went to the bank on Monday and said, I want to withdraw all my money. They can't even give it to all 30 million because only 15% of the cash is available on hand at any given time. The rest is fake zeros and ones. That would collapse the banking system in one day. You see the power in that? You have the power. Well, we all have the power, but what's keeping us back from doing this? Fear. Oh my God, if I don't go to work, I'm going to get fired. And if they don't participate in it, and I'm the only one that doesn't show up for work, I'm going to lose out, and you're not going to be able to pay my rent. I'm not going to be able to make my car payment, and so forth and so on. You see the trap they have us in? They have us in this system where we're afraid to work together. Man, we're brothers. We should be.
See, now this guy's name is Billy Carson. That's Billy Carson. When Billy Carson first came out, that's how he used to talk. I don't know how old this video is, but definitely ain't recent. Billy Carson then went off to Neptune somewhere. But this is the guy that used to talk. Real talk. This is what I'm saying. They get a what? Yeah, they get a knock on the door. See what I'm saying?
Link up. Let's do this together.
We didn't need no jobs. Think about it. Why the fuck do we need to work in they factories which are designed to kill off our nature, our wildlife, and us? So no matter where you work, medical field, sports entertainment, you become a rapper, you sell drugs, you go work at Burger King, you go work at retail, all these companies are against us. Yeah, we buy shoes, but
more importantly, all those things is making money for those people that control those industries. You see what I'm saying? So when you go work for somebody, you're making money for them. Make money for yourself. All right, let's move on to the next
one. Man, get in here. Let me show you how dumb these Native Americans is. They so dumb, they were just taught to steal, right? The Europeans, all of them taught them, but they don't know these fringes, right? They don't know these fringes. It's in the Bible, right here. They don't know this. And why you think they don't know this? Why? Because they taught to steal, right? They taught to steal, right? And let me ask you a question. And why does it work very well for them?
Is it stealing? Or have they been trained and taught to do something? I mean, even if they that's not stealing. That's like mimicking. They're mimicking the dress of these people in the Bible. Of course they're going to do that because they've studied. Study these people. There's plenty of books that talk about these chosen people. You know what I'm saying? So it's not necessarily stealing. It's trying to be like. Something like that. All right?
Because the outfit and the fringes. But let me give you another secret. Why do you think China was given priority to make our clothes to change every 5 to 10 years?
Well, I think we know now is to get surrogate sisters to have babies. Obviously. I think we found out why.
Oh, we dressing fresh. Just because we won't have no ties to this Bible verse, right? And if you watch them, the fringes, right? This is where they said, hey, Israelites, wear fringes so we can tell who you are. What? We ain't listen. What we did? Oh, China coming out with some new Jordans. China coming out with this. Oh, China coming out with that. Oh, China making our clothes. Oh, China. China the one owed us reparations. China owed.
Oh, really? China owes us? Oh, well. All righty. We added another variable to the table, huh? To the equation, I should say.
Us money because our heritage was taken and they was involved in it. I don't care if you didn't know. You were like, oh, I'm gonna make their clothes. No, you knew. You was in the same meeting they was. You was in the same meeting they was. And this is why when you go on the internet, they dress like this. Go on the internet right now. They not dressed in normal clothes. They dress like this. Every picture is dressed like this. Because the Bible told you to dress like this. The Bible told you to wear them fringes. So you can be distinct from everybody else. Just like the Mormons. Just like the Jews. And this is what the Jews do, right? This that scarf, right? This is what the Jews do, right? This is what the Native Americans do, right? The Amish, the Chinese, the Chinese got their own clothes. Everybody got their own clothes. Except us, right? We're the only one to get clothes imported from China. Oh, this way it is. Hey, pastors, preach this. Don't preach the fringes, pastor. Have you ever heard your pastor preach, you need to wear fringes? No, he skipped over that Bible verse because they all in it together.
Yeah. Hold on a sec. What's going on? Firekeeper, hold on. You got a leak up in there. I know Blaylock got some in there. Baylock got some in there. Let me pull it up real quick. Hold on, I gotta pull it up from here. Oh, can I pull it up from the chat? Nope. Gotta pull it up from the can't pull it up from the back chat from my StreamYard. I gotta pull it up from here. Hold on, y'all, for a sec. Let me pull these up. Let me pull these links up. All right. I got you, Firekeeper. Let me pull this other one up. All right. Oh, shoot, that's right. I can't even do that from here because he put these in before. All right, let me just keep pushing. Keep pushing. I got you, Firekeeper. I'm gonna put that in there. All right, let me go ahead and get rid of some of these. Let me get rid of that. Get rid of that. Let me get rid of that. All right. All right, let's get to the next one. All right. Let's get that up. Boom. Let's get it back up. All right. We got some deep ones today. All these videos is hidden. So y'all stay put. Make sure you guys hit the thumbs up, post it on your panel, just put it up there and say, hey, this nigga don't know what the hell he talking about. Listen to this dummy. Come on over here and listen to this dummy.
Most recent meeting minutes.
Okay. Once you pay, so
you're telling me you don't have them open for inspection?
Now listen closely to this. Remember I was saying 501c3, right? All these organizations got to have their books available. What this young lady is doing is actually asking her to produce the books. So let me reboot this real quick. I got to give you an introduction to people like, well, what's going on here? Check this out. Actually, produce them books.
Yeah, I'd like to see the most recent meeting minutes.
okay. Once you pay, so
you're telling me you don't have them open for inspection?
The ones that are approved are online. You can go on and read those. The other ones are
and the
not,
ordinances?
I still have to pull them. So that is why you're not being charged.
So you don't have them open to inspection like they're required by law?
Oops. Well, she's stuck right there. But look at her. Look at her. She's got a look in her eyes like, uh-oh. But at the same time, she's... All right, let me not... Listen.
Can I see the budget then?
The budget?
Yeah.
The budget? And she was like, what? Nobody asked for the budget. Can I look at those? I need to view those, inspect those. I need to know what's going on here. Anybody can do it. A bum on the street come up in there and say, hey, I need to see them books. Better produce them. Because guess what? I'm calling the police. See, this is a good time to call the police. Right now. Excuse me, 911. She is failing to produce records. By law. Arrest her. And you're fired. Give me somebody else. After she was doing what she was doing, you're fired. Give me somebody else. Go get your supervisor. Quickly.
Yeah, I can pull that out for you, but you're still going to pay for my time to do that.
Okay.
Whoa. You're going to pay for my time to do that. Oh, yeah. I'm thinking that you get a salary, right? You got a wages. I'm pretty sure you do. You want me to pay you to do something that you are employed to do. How about that? And look at her face. She is serious. Now I see why the police be running from these white folks, man. That shit. They got the devil in them.
That's what I'm charging you for, is my time to pull all of that. I'm not charging you to read them.
So that's not what it says by law that you can do. You can't charge me with inspecting in order to pull it. You can charge me if I'm copying them.
No, I can charge you for the research time.
No, if you're copying them. No. If you're copying them. You should have the meeting minutes open to inspection. You should have the budget open to inspection. The ordinances should be open to inspection. So you're telling me I can't find out what's legal in this town without paying you. Mm-hmm. So I can't know whether something is legal here in town. I can't know that. Is that right?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
That's exactly what you're saying. I can't look at it unless I pay you.
Why are we still talking? Go get them goddamn books and open them up, or get out of here and give me somebody that can. She didn't already incriminated herself. She said, pay me. That's extortion. I ain't giving you nothing until you pay me. I'd have said, how much? Just cut the whole shit out, Jay. Just cut it out. How much?
Yes. Because I have to pull it out. And
so you don't have like a binder of ordinances or anything? No. Where are they then?
They're in with the meeting minutes.
Okay, and where's that?
They're all filed away, which is why I have to go dig them out.
Okay, and you don't do that.
She got to go dig. The meeting was just over. Why you got to go dig? What you buried? You buried them? This is hilarious. This is hilarious.
That for people. That's not your job? Because they're supposed to be open for inspection. I'm supposed to be able to come in here and, okay, well then get the mayor or someone that knows what you're supposed to be doing, because you clearly don't.
Okay.
I will be here until I get to inspect these meeting minutes and stuff.
The mayor is currently out of town.
Okay.
The mayor is out of town. Where? Why is the mayor out of town doing what? The mayor is the mayor of that city. The mayor should not be out of town. You lied again. Where's the mayor at? Well, I can't tell you. Yes, you can. That is a public employee. Do I need to bring up? Maybe I need to bring that guy back up.
Okay, well then get somebody, because I will be inspecting these. Call your lawyer or whatever. Get me the stuff. See if you can hold them for inspection.
Please don't record my computer.
Then make it so it's unavailable in public.
It's behind my desk. How is this?
I'm in public though.
You know what? I'm not going to deal with this.
Damn, that was aggressive. That was aggressive. She was angry. That's what I'm saying. People doing their job angry. Anyway, go and leave this one up. Now it's interesting that this thing popped up on my little line about the special appearance when we was talking about this on today is Thursday. I didn't do nothing Wednesday. On Tuesday, we was talking about that. On our two-a-day we did the two-a-day on Tuesday. Two-a-day on Tuesday. Okay, new drink. All right, check it out. So special appearance comes up. Let's see. What's she saying? Let's go here, reboot it, make sure we ain't missing nothing.
Idea to use the address at the post office? Absolutely. But do I think it's a good idea to use the address at the post office? Absolutely. But I only think it's a good idea if you're using it for a business entity. And this is why I feel like that. Now, like I was saying before about the residential address, you definitely don't want to get mail at your residential address. We need to understand what the actual postal system is and how it actually tracks a lot of our activity. So if you've never been privileged.
All right, so keep that in mind. She's talking about the postal system. Keep this in mind. Because I'm gonna bring this up. We're gonna go quick.
To request a LexisNexis report, you've probably never seen what a full consumer report actually looks like, or a full Nexus report actually looks like. On your LexisNexis report, they have addresses that go all the way back until you were a child, right? You'll be surprised at the addresses that they have on there that you probably forgot you ever even lived at. And
it's crazy. I got my LexisNexis report, and that thing was like a half of a book.
It's interesting because it's like, well, dang, they've been keeping track of us our whole lives, right? How did that happen? Well,
I want to hear what you got to say, but here's what I will say first. You know how it happened? Because they actually LexisNexis. People don't understand LexisNexis. You can get all kind of stuff. That stuff is connected to the archives. So, like, you can grab everything that they connect. You fill out an application or anything, job, tech, anything. See, people think they're actually looking at Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. No, they're looking at LexisNexis. That's how they make their final decision. You know, because a lot of people think it's just those three bureaus, but those three bureaus are not even government entities. Those things are LLCs. And they register with the government to get contracts, to contract with them and get funding. See, a lot of people think you just can go to, you go to the bank and get your loans and all that stuff, but you can actually plenty of other places to get it done. But nevertheless, I digress.
My theory is that when we're born, okay, because there's a trust that was created at the hospital before we left between the mother and the state and the father, because he signed off on it too, even though they don't put his name on the, they don't put his signature on the birth certificate. And so
now, I don't mean to interrupt her, but she's saying a trust was established. No. A trust was established way back. What's being established is a relationship or an agreement, right? To register these instruments that's connected to the child. If I can use the word child loosely. No trust is created. The estate is created. An account is created. The certificate of title is created in business. Because if she's saying a trust was created, that means the United States is a trust. Is it? Any relationship that you create is a trust relationship in nature. But a trust is not set up. See what I'm saying? Not in the manner that she's saying. All right. It's called an executor. It's called an executrix. And if you're talking about an executor and an executrix, you're talking about an estate trust. What we do is we actually do the same thing that you will actually see in a mortgage. We transfer title over to the state, the local agency, which is subject to the state, which is subject to the United States of America. That's how it works. You see what I'm saying? Those instruments are everything. But if people know how to do it right, then you can take your instruments with you. You can give them a copy and say, this is not negotiable. Here you go. I'm take mine with me. You want yours? Cool. Here's a copy of it. All right, just for the record. But I'm taking my originals with me. The bottom line is they got to create a so-called fiduciary responsibility because they took the originals. So they're the holder of those instruments, not the holder in due course. They shouldn't be. If they ever say that, they know they commit fraud. That's why they never say they're a holder in due course. They say they are the holder of these security instruments. I mean, she's good, though. She's good. Listen to her.
Sometimes they don't even put the mom's signature on the birth certificate, depending on the state. So they don't all look alike. But the concept is usually the mother's signature is on the birth certificate. Now, the father's name may be on the birth certificate printed out, but there's no signature on there, which makes it appear as if the father did not sign on this and agree, or he didn't come into agreement with this, right? So after they get all the paperwork done and printed up for the birth certificate.
Okay, so the reason why that happens is that the state, the local agency, through the state, in the transfer of title. That's why you have a certificate of title. It's a certificate of live birth. It's a certificate of title that looks identical to what you get a certificate of title on your car. Now, the reason why the father is kind of left out in signature or authorization, because they already know that the state now is the parent. It's called parens patria. It's a Latin term. We can look that up. But that's the reason. Outside of that, that's why you see in family law, even it really is connected to Social Security, it's Title 4D, and even through the Hague as well, is that you just become a custodian. That's why if you look up child support stuff, family law, everything, they say custodial, non-custodial. That's it. We can look up custodial. We can actually see what that is, what that means. But technically, you got all the liabilities to clean shit up, right? A custodian, right? You got to clean shit up. And you're going to be liable for everything. But the state is now the parent. We can look that up too. What we got? Parent, custodial, custodian, superintendent, clean up on aisle 3. Yeah, got those things. We looked up special appearance. We can actually get back to appearance if we want to. Certificate of title. Okay, got that too. So we got those. Anybody that's listening, because I am doing this, I'm not writing, taking notes or anything right now. Everything that you guys heard, put it in the chat so I can view it, and then we can actually look at it. And then I can go pull these things up. All right. But she's good. I try to figure out how these cats practice a lot to talk so damn fast. Maybe because they don't know what they're talking about.
Once the application is completed, your mother has given them information about you for them to basically now convert into a instrumentality to be able to utilize in other, instances and other.
What up, big dog? Big dog. What's going on, brother? American Goddess, she back. All right. I had to cough. Let's listen some more. Where'd she go?
business matters, then they in the county they register it, and then they send it up to the state, right? And then the state is the one who issues the certificate. Now
this is where it gets interesting. This is good. Never looked at it from this perspective as after what she just said. She kind of confirmed what I said. The county, the local sends it up to the state where you get your parents' patria, which is now the state becomes a parent, the child becomes a ward, and actually the mother and the father becomes a custodian.
when we had a word issue, most of the time people think like this is something like it has to do with something like a problem or something like that, or an obstacle, right? But when it comes to financial situations and applications, that's not what issue means. So let's look at what issue means in that sense. Matter of fact, we got two of them. So in issues, the definition of issue in a trust or estate plan, issue refers to all of the persons.
Hold on. I'm trying to do something real quick. Let me lower that. Here we go. All right.
Lineal descendants, including children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and so on down the family line. It is a legal term focusing on bloodline rather than just immediate children, and typically includes legally adopted children as well. So lineal descendants. Issues cover all generations of direct descendants, not just first generation. Adopted children. Issues versus heirs. Issue is more specific than heirs, and it only includes direct descendants, whereas heirs can include spouses, parents, or siblings. Now, do I think it's a good idea to use the address at the post office? Absolutely. But I only think it's a good idea if you're using it for a business.
All right. So you see, she went a bunch of different places. And up here it says special appearance part 2. I mean, maybe that was just a little clip where she got to talking about that, but that had nothing to do with special appearance. But the key word is issue here. So we got issue. So we got another term we got to look up, issue. But that was very interesting. That was something I never thought about from that perspective, what an issue is. See what I'm saying? But let's continue. I'm going to leave that up too. All right. This is the one.
And is engaging in a degree of judicial activism that is we are now calling for Supreme Court reform. We are now reckoning with the fact that this court really is operating in a lawless manner and is engaging in a degree of judicial activism that is frankly unprecedented, at least in the modern era. This court is unconstrained by any enforceable rules of ethics, which is where we should begin. That should be an issue that is not controversial for anybody. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on or ideological spectrum. We should all want a fair arbiter of justice in the highest court of the land. And the only way we get that is if we have strict, enforceable rules of judicial conduct, the same types of rules that govern every other judge in this country.
Now, remember just last week, that's what I'm saying, these things come to my feet. Interesting how these streams work. But as I was showing, when the two of the Supreme Court justices, Amy Coney Barrett and the other lady, out of California, where they were coming to the appropriations committee asking for money. And they was asking for money for protection. And they said, well, if we can't get this money, then it's going to be hard for us to do our job. And that's why it's good what she was talking about. Like, these justices are pretty much like not blackmailing, I would say, but it's kind of like, if you want us to continue to do our job, we need money. If not, then it's going to be hard for us to do our job. Now, is that representing the people or actually representing the Congress and politics and everything that they're doing by, discriminating against people? Because what she just said is exactly what I've been talking about. Exactly what I've been talking about, that all of these courts are kangaroo courts all the way up to the Supreme Court. And they, like I said, they shadow these shadow cases, and they pick and choose the popular ones that's going to get them some attention, like Trump and some of these other cases they've been talking about, voters' rights and naturalization. Yeah, we'll Roe v. Wade. We'll talk about all that, because those things going to get us some attention. But worried about Joe Blow coming up in here talking about some constitutional violations done to him or her, and the other aspects of it in regards to due process, and him or her coming in there without an attorney representing themselves in their own in personam capacity. We don't need to pay attention to that. But if y'all don't give me this money, I think we might have to pay attention to that. I don't think you want these people coming up in here with these claims and us looking at them and actually bringing them up and giving opinions on it. It's not going to work out good for you. See what I'm saying? We get these on our desk, but we're up here. We're not blackmailing you, but we're kind of giving you an ultimatum. Give us that money for that protection. See what I'm saying? It's interesting. I got a couple of them up here because she was actually talking about some things here. Let's go to this one. Let's go to this one.
Looking at Black people weren't only looking at their self-interest, they were the founders of a.
Now, this girl at the bottom, she's an actor, so we ain't worried about her. So if I could, I'll cut this screen off in half. We just deal with the sister up top.
A country that was meant to be inclusive.
Now, that girl is African. The one on the bottom, African.
Black people weren't only looking at their self-interest, they were the founders of a country that was meant to be inclusive for all. And that's why we are taking this moment to be a call for a refounding of our own, right? We want something that is expansive, inclusive, where power is shared, dignity is sacred, and thriving is the standard for all.
But she's asking for something that was already supposed to be put in place. See, we're talking about the civil rights. Wasn't that supposed to be what was supposed to be put in place then, 60 years ago? Why is she still asking for it? People need to stop asking for stuff that was already in place. You need to know, and they love people like this. Now, she's saying great, strong things. Powerful things, but it's already on the books. We don't need to ask for inclusiveness or anything of that matter. It's already on the books. All right.
I have a court that is both incredibly hostile towards civil rights, but also is not being transparent about what it is doing.
Bingo. So we talked about that. I showed a clip on that just the other day, where they're operating in a way that is, I'm gonna show you the banking thing. Hold on. Where's this guy? I know you're like, damn, you didn't show this dude.
So there's a role for banks in almost everything that's happening.
You didn't show this dude a bunch of times. Yeah. But what did this guy say in the courts? They're actually hostile towards civil rights. See, what she said is one thing. What he's saying, they're hostile towards civil rights, and they're actually not making the people aware of what they're doing.
Which undermines the ability for any sort of accountability. So this is a moment where I think it is clear that something needs to change with respect to our court system, and that means a real serious look at different kinds of potential court reform.
See, and this is the messed up thing about that girl on the bottom. She's African, she's Nigerian, but she claims black. And when she was on CNN, she did all the calls playing, did all this and all that, but she's having these type of conversations on her social media, and it's not really getting out. You see how disingenuous these people are? Let's listen to her again. I'm gonna let it flow all the way through without interruption, because what the other guy said, what she's saying, this is what people need to be paying attention to.
Black people weren't only looking at their self-interest, they were the founders of a country that was.
I said I wasn't going to interrupt her, but I don't think anybody caught it the first time. She said, founders of a country. Founders. I'm going to reboot it. Get it. I'm going to reboot it. We're going to go back to the top.
Black people weren't only looking at their self-interest, they were the founders of a country that was meant to be inclusive for all. And that's why we are taking this moment to be a call for a refounding of our own, right? We want something that is expansive, inclusive, where power is shared, dignity is sacred, and thriving is the standard for all.
You have a court that is both incredibly hostile towards civil rights, but also is not being transparent about what it is doing, which undermines the ability for any sort of accountability. So this is a moment where I think it is clear that something needs to change with respect to our court system, and that means a real serious look at different kinds of potential court reform.
Sure. Nah. Yeah. All right. Just listen.
In the economy. But what exactly is that role? I'd like to reflect on that. Banks are being thought.
Now we got what we just heard, transparency, right? Transparency in the courts. Now let's deal with banking. Transparency.
As intermediaries. But this is not really what's happening. Banks,
what are they then?
The creators of the money supply.
So you're firmly of the view that banks create money out of thin air?
Yes, well, I produced the first empirical studies to prove that in the 5,000-year history of banking. Banks are thought of as deposit-taking institutions that lend.
5,000 years of banking. 5,000 minus 2026. Yeah, it's like 3,000 BC. Banking.
Money. The legal reality is banks don't take deposits and banks don't lend money. So what is a deposit? A deposit is not actually a deposit. It's not a bailment. It's not held in custody. At law, the word deposit is
bailment. Book that.
Meaningless. The law courts and various judgments have made it very clear, if you give your money to a bank, even though it's called a deposit, this money is simply a loan to the bank.
That's true. Yeah.
So there is no such thing as a deposit.
That's true. Yeah, he backed up. Yeah, that's true.
So you
There's
think it's
just
probably
loans to the bank.
adequately named then?
So banks borrow from the public. Okay, so that much we've established. What about lending? Surely they're lending money. No, they don't. Banks don't lend money. Banks, again, at law, it's very clear, they're in the business of purchasing securities. That's it. So you say, okay, don't, confuse me with all that legalese.
No,
I want a loan. I want a loan.
Yep.
Fine. Here's the loan contract. Here's the offer letter, and you sign. At law, it's very clear. You have issued a security, namely a promissory note, and the bank is going to purchase that. That's what's happening.
Put it in layman's terms. What does that mean?
It means that what the bank is doing is very different from what it presents to the public.
There we go. What the banks is doing is different from what it presents to the public. Strike two. Strike two. I don't have strike three up here. But if you have those two aspects of life that I think will get you into your prosperity and living an American life and, getting remedies and due process and all that stuff, those things are out the window. Based on these last two videos, out the window. How else are you going to be able to get any type of equal protection, remedy, restoration, restitution, reparations, repair, restore, otherwise? How are you going to be able to do it when you got these two entities that's running everything? Okay. Let's see what this sister got again.
In the state of Louisiana at all.
Hold on. Watch this. This girl, she just popped up. She was cooking.
No Black person has ever been elected in the state of Louisiana at all.
Should I say any more? I think that's what she said. At all. Nothing else to talk about. So, no Black person has ever been elected statewide in Louisiana, ever. Oh my goodness.
Sent statewide, I should say. I want to be really clear, statewide, on a statewide basis, not Secretary of State, not governor, not lieutenant governor, not attorney general. None of those offices have been held by a Black person elected statewide, even though this is a state that is 33% Black and that has the second highest percentage of Black people in all of the states, save for Mississippi. And while numbers alone do not necessarily dictate what political power should look like exactly, when political power is so minimized that this 1/3 population has a say in only 1 out of 6 congressional districts, that's a clear indicator that something is wrong. No.
Hey, look. I'm laughing on purpose. See, but that 33% is kind of misleading too as well. And you know that Mississippi and Louisiana, like right next door. Right next door. So if you combine Mississippi and Louisiana, you're talking about a place that might be, I would say, 70%. Now, she's talking from a thing of a Black, right? There might be people that might be there that might not be classified as Black and will be considered on facial look Black. But what I would say is this: Louisiana, statewide, can you really find me somebody in any state that has been elected in a position statewide? How many? Now, I know Shirley Weber, that's a sister. She's the Secretary of State. You have our county recorder out here. I think that's a sister too. Men? Different story. California, they'll put a sister in on some statewide stuff. Yeah, they will do that. But there will be Secretary of State or, you know, county recorder, yeah, governor, lieutenant governor, the other things. So there it is. Now this right here is interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I think I got this is the last one. It's real short, but it's interesting. Just pay attention to these things right here. Pay attention to these officers, what he has behind him. I need to find this video.
And standing to President Trump's right has a cap that has a light blue band in the center bounded by 2 yellow bands. That's military intelligence. The gentleman to President Trump's left has a cap that has a dark blue band in the center bounded by 2 yellow ones. That is JAG, Judge Advocate Generals. These are the military lawyers. They try cases that are called tribunals. And who was standing behind President Trump when he said, "We are giving the power back to the people"? Who's we? I missed it. I knew there was something different about having military stand behind a president. I'd never seen that before, but.
Me neither. Me neither. Need to find that video.
The caps that were worn, that tells you everything.
Yeah, it's about to get funky around here. It's about to get real funky. They done with their little foreign wars. Yeah, it's about to get funky here. You guys need to run for the border. Now, loans by bank on its own stock, right? So, not that one. Wait a minute. I don't think it's that one. Boom, 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 boom. Damn, where'd it go? Okay, that one is. That ain't the one. Hold on. Let me pull this up real quick. All right, let me pull this one up. Where'd it go? Open Records Act, special appearance, termination. Where'd it go? Oh, you know what that was? That was none of your business's thing. Let me go ahead and pull hers up. Eat clean, lease and mortgage. There we go.
All right, so
there we go. All right. So let's come on down here. We're gonna pull up 12 USC 83A. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work off these videos and then we'll do the references. All right, appreciate everybody coming here. Khalid Copeland, 5082. What's going on, man? Appreciate you, man. Make sure you hit that like, post it on your channel. Big Dog, Philly, what's happening? American Goddess, what's happening? Richie, Rich, what's happening? Firekeeper, what's going on? All right, so let's go ahead and let's get this in. Where am I at? An hour 47? All right. I already did that, so the time is actually started already because I was commenting on these things. Let's start here.
There's fraud from the beginning of the mortgage process. The moment that you sign your application and they take your promissory note, they monetize that behind your back, okay? And so that note pays off the house. The house has been paid off within the first 45 days of you signing that application. The bank didn't come to you with any anything. They can't loan their assets. That's already been proven by modern money mechanics. They can't loan their assets. So where do they get the deposit from? They get the deposit from that promissory note, because we, in our natural born standing, we are the creditors. The moment they get our signature, they then monetize that instrument, and the house is paid off. So that becomes fraud right then and there, because the bank has issued not 1 cent in your property. But like you were saying before, when you don't pay certain things like taxes or whatever else, they then kind of come in and say, oh, now we have an interest in the property. But see, then there's the fraud where there's no law that states that we have to register any of our assets with them. Not your house, not your car, not your children, none of that stuff. There is no law. Now, they might ask and say you need to or you should, but that's an ask.
Had to turn that AC off. Thing got me coughing. All right, so here's 12 USC 83. Loans by bank on its own stock. Let's check out the notes. It's RS subsection 5201. Let's take a look on that. That's 12 USC code 5201 purposes. All right, so that's what that means. So the purpose of this chapter are to immediately provide authority and facilities that the Secretary of the Treasury can use to restore liquidity and stability to the financial system of the United States. To immediately provide authority and facilities that the Secretary of the Treasury can use to restore liquidity and stability to the financial system of the United States, and to ensure that such authority and such facilities are used in a manner that protects. Damn, had to turn that AC off. Hold on. Hey. I just saw that. You're right. Got to think real low of yourself if you do that. You're right about that. All right. So let's get back to it, man. Get to my throat. All right. So here we go. All right, so let me go. I'm gonna put the camera up. Boom. See that? LMU. All right, so there you go. So now, make sure it's up. Yep, it's up. Okay, so it's to ensure that such authority and such facilities are used in a manner that protect home values, college funds, retirement accounts, and life savings, preserves home ownership, and promote jobs and economic growth, maximizes overall returns to the taxpayer of the United States. Overall returns maximizes overall returns to the taxpayers of the United States and provides public accountability for the exercise of such authority. Interesting. So let's come back here. So we're at the notes. So it says 5201 derived from Act June 3, 1864. 13 Stat 110, which was the National Bank Act. See Section 38 of this title. So amendments 2000. There was amendment in 2000, Public Law 106-569, amended section catchline and text generally. Prior to amendment, text read as follows. No association shall make any loan or discount on the security of the shares of its own capital stock, nor be the purchaser or holder of any such shares, unless such security or purchase shall be necessary to prevent loss upon a debt previously contracted in good faith. Wow. And stock so purchased or acquired shall, within 6 months from the time of his purchase, be sold or disposed of at public or private sale, or in default thereof, a receiver may be appointed to close up the business of the association according to section 192 of this title. Oh my goodness. I wonder who actually reads the notes on this. It says specifically right here, no association. Now, you want to know what an association is? National association. Any bank or any financial institution that is connected or attached to the federal Federal Depository Investment Corporation, the FDIC, or the National Credit NCUA, National Credit Credit Union Administration, which is connected to the Federal Reserve. Any association, that'll be a national association. So you got Bank of America, right? N.A. National Association. You got United States Bank, N.A. National Association. You got JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. National Association. Wells Fargo, same thing. And then you had Washington Mutual, these F.A. which you can call Federal Association. If a bank on their website, if you look at the bottom, scroll all the way to the bottom, when you go to the homepage, scroll all the way to the bottom. If they have a link that you can click on that says FDIC, they're a part of this. If you actually see FDIC and you can't click on it, it means they're not a part of this. It means they're not insured. So, under the circumstances, no association shall make any loan or discount on the security of the shares. Now, remember what this guy said. Where he at? 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 Here you go. Let me slide him down here. Yeah, we're good right here. Remember what this guy said on this. He said they sell securities.
It's very clear that they're in the business of purchasing securities.
So we got that clear. It's clear. No need to do anything outside of knowing what that specific thing that these institutions are doing. These associations, pretty much. So, if they can't make any loan or discount on the securities of the shares, and we talk about discount, you're talking about original issue discount or credit. If you hear discount in this form of fashion, it means credit. So they can't make any loan or credit on the securities of the shares of its own capital stock. Why? Because it don't belong to them. Nor be the purchaser or holder of any such shares, unless such security or purchase shall be necessary to prevent loss upon a debt previously contracted in good faith. That's a mouthful. But let's go back. So it says no national bank shall make any loan or discount on the security of its shares. Okay, so there it is right there. And then it says B, exclusion. For purpose of this section, a national bank shall not be deemed to be making a loan or discount on the security of the shares of its own capital stock if it acquires the stock to prevent loss upon a debt previously contracted for in good faith. That's the exclusion. So now we need to understand what is good faith under the circumstances, right? But another day. Let's get on to the next. All right, let's get on to the next. Where is it at here? All right. So we straight here. So if the exclusion comes into play, let's see if this exclusion comes into play with what he is saying. Because it sounds like this exclusion doesn't matter because everything is not done in good faith. Because what did he say? He said that the banks are actually doing something that they're not letting the public aware of. So if that's the case, ain't no good faith here.
That's it. So you say, okay, don't, confuse me with all that legalese. No. I want a loan. I want a loan. Yep. Fine. Here's the loan contract. Here's the offer letter, and you sign. At law, it's very clear. You have issued a security, namely a promissory note, and the bank is going to purchase that. That's what's happening.
Put it in layman's terms. What does that mean?
It means that what the bank is doing is very different from what it presents to the public that it's doing. How does this fit together? So you say, fine, the bank purchases my promissory note, but how do I get my money? I want, it's a loan. I want
200 grand, right?
I don't care about the details. I want the money. The bank will say, well, you'll find it in your account with us. That would be technically correct. If they say, we'll transfer it to your account, that's wrong because no money is transferred at all.
It's already
from
in the bank.
Anywhere inside the bank or outside the bank. Why? Because what we call a deposit is simply the bank's record of its debt to the public. Now, it also owes you money, and its record of the money it owes you is what you think you're getting as money. And that's all it's.
So, exclusion out the window. Now we know what the debt is. Because if this 12 U.S.C. 83 is saying about a debt, right? A debt previously contracted for in good faith. So if the debt is to them, even if it is a debt to them, you're putting debt into the public, but it hasn't been done in good faith. So even in that debt, credit, debt, so on and so forth, right? Because that's where the discount comes in. The loan or discount comes in is you're dealing with credits and debits. So if it's not done in good faith, even that debt that they're up under is seeming to be null and void. Okay. Now, let's go over here. We already seen that one. Hold on. Wait a minute. Bam. Let's come here. Hold on. What is this one? Oh, there you go. Yeah. All right. I was wondering where that thing was at. All right. Now, let's deal with this situation right here. Then we'll get to firekeepers. But yeah, these are some good ones. None of your business if you're listening now or later.
Jail card you think it is. A court figured that out back in 1899. Some of y'all still haven't. There's a legal thing called willful blindness. Translation, if you choose not to look, the law treats it like you knew.
Okay, so all right. Willful blindness. So it's the deliberate failure to inquire about wrongdoing despite having a strong suspicion that it exists, often leading to an inference of knowledge about the crime, is also known as a conscious avoidance and is used in legal contexts to establish culpability. Okay, here we go. So it's also dealing with willful ignorance. So in willful ignorance, psychology and philosophy, willful ignorance is deliberate avoidance of relevant information or knowledge. Often because the truth will be uncomfortable or would create to act in ways the person would rather avoid. So if we look at it from the aspect of what this sister was saying, where's she at? right? We're looking at it from this perspective, what this sister was saying.
People weren't only looking at their self-interest. They were the founders of a country that was meant to be inclusive for all. And that's why we are taking this moment to be a call for a refounding of our own, right? We want something that is expansive, inclusive, where power is shared, dignity is sacred, and thriving is the standard for all.
You have a court that.
Okay, so we're going to pay attention to what he's saying in regards to the courts. Because if you're talking about willful ignorance or willful blindness, which is a deliberate avoidance of relevant information or knowledge because it's uncomfortable, create pressure to act in ways that a person would rather avoid. We're talking about personal interests and feelings. That's what we're talking about. So in law, right, because he's about to talk about these courts, willful ignorance is when a person seeks to avoid civil or criminal liability for a wrongful act by intentionally keeping themselves unaware of facts that will render them liable or implicated. Now, check this out. Check this out. This is called misprision of felony. It's called misprision of felony. Whoever having knowledge of the actual commission of a felony cognizable by a court of the United States conceals and does not as soon as possible make known the same to some judge or other person in civil or military authority under the United States shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 3 years or both. Okay. Now, let's go back. See right here, they say it requires proof of active concealment rather than just silence. Lie, wrong, silence is acquiescence. Half truth, full lie. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna side click this, and then I'm gonna do this. This is how you know this government, the people, the world has been paying attention to what we and a lot of people been doing in flooding these courts with these claims. Right? So this is called misprision of treason. Whoever owing allegiance to the United States and having knowledge of the commission of any treason against them conceals and does not, as soon as may be, disclose and make known the same to the president or to some judge of the United States, or to the governor or to some judge or justice of a particular state is guilty of misprision of treason and shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 7 years or both. So it's your duty. Tell it. And now, in the circumstance, you say, okay, well, whoever owing allegiance to the United States, if you pledge allegiance to the United States and to the republic for which it stands, and you actually seeing a crime taking place anywhere that's happening. But more importantly, we're focused on the United States. We're talking about the three branches. We're talking about elected officials. We're talking about judges, attorneys, banks, and all these things. Yeah. This is what we're talking about here. Now, come back here. Get me? No, we don't. Yeah, we could do it. Wait a minute. Yeah. We could do it like this. Let me share my whole entire screen. Right? Let's take a look. Let's take a look. It's nothing but common sense. Nothing but common sense. All right. So let's bring it up. Okay, so we're here on appearance. So let me go ahead. Where is that pen at? Okay, what was that? 201? Hold on, let me do it like this. Let's do it like this. Let's create a blank. Come on, man. Yeah, this thing been tripping. 201 appearance. All right, so let's go here. Let's go to treason. So we get a clear understanding of what treason is. All right, let's go up. All right, so we got 1748. Treason. 1748. All right, treason is the offense of attempting by the overt acts to overthrow the government of the state to which the offender owes allegiance, or of betraying the state into the hands of a foreign power. Treason consists of two elements: adherence to the enemy and rendering him aid and comfort. Now, so how does that fit? Well, before we go there, while I'm thinking about it, let's go to issue. FGHI issue. Let's come here to issue so I don't forget. She mentioned issue. Let's come here, get this in. Boom, boom. Jeez. There we go. Issue. Okay. Here we go. 1040. 1040 issue. All right. What did I say? Started with a C. What was that? Yeah, what was that? Started with a C. Started with a C. Started with the C. What was that? Damn it. I can't think of it right now. Dang it. What was it? Okay, so can't even think about it. Started with C though. And nobody took notes. Nobody put it in the chat. All right. Hold on. Let's stay with it. Let's stay with it. Okay, so we're dealing with something of that nature, right? We're talking about treason right now. So if I go over here, 18 USC. Let's go here. Now let's go here. Let's talk about vessels for slave trade. Think about it. All right, think about it. Yeah, we're talking about treason. We're talking about foreign entities. Right. So let's be clear. Let's go back to treason, 1748. Let's go to 1748. Listen closely. Now, how can this fit? Treason. Right. Remember I showed you the video where the one guy said that 1871, there was a entity that was brought into the United States of America to take over the republic called the United States. Now, this is what they say. But if we're looking at it from this perspective, that the offense of attempting by overt acts to overthrow the government of the state to the government of the state, lowercase s, to which the offender owes allegiance, pledge allegiance to the flag, or I take an oath to defend the Constitution, right? It's all enemies, foreign and domestic, or of betraying the state in the hands of a foreign power, right? Treason, two elements: adherence to the enemy and rendering him aid and comfort. All right, we're about to move on this. So adherence. Faithful attachment, devotion. The state of being fixed in attachment, fidelity, steady attachment, adhesion. A close physical union of two objects. So we got adherence. So we know what that means now. All right. Now, when we come back here, it says adherence to the enemy. So that's alliance, and rendering the enemy aid and comfort. Aiding and abetting, right? So let's pull up aiding and abetting. Let's just see where that goes. Aiding and abetting. To be accomplice to someone in an illegal act. Okay? So if we have that together, and we're looking at it from this point right here, talking about some foreign treason aspect of it. Now, let's look up felony. And then we're going to look up misprision. Felony. That's felonious act. Felony. Let's go felony. Right here. Right here. A crime of a graver or more atrocious nature than those designated as misdemeanor. Generally an offense punishable by death or imprisonment in penitentiary. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or state prison. Okay. And a common law, an offense occasioning total forfeiture of either land or goods to which capital or other punishment might be superadded according to degree of guilt. Here we go. Misprision of felony. See, misprision. Okay, so felony is 820. 820 felony. All right. So now let's go to misprision. Bring it on down. Bring it on down, people. Don't worry about it. It's 5 people in the chat. It's all good. This is all I want. Misprision. All right, bam. Wait a minute. Misprision. There you go. Okay, misprision. Let's go there first. Okay, a word used to describe a misdemeanor, which does not possess a specific name, but more particularly, properly, the term denotes either a contempt against the sovereign, the government, or the courts of justice, including not only contempts of court properly so called, but also all forms of seditious or disloyal conduct and lese majesty, maladministration of high public office, including peculation of the public funds, neglect or light account made of a crime. That is, failure in the duty of a citizen to endeavor to prevent the commission of a crime or having knowledge of its commission to reveal it to the proper authorities. You see where we're at? All right. So now let's go to misprision of felony. The offense of concealing a felony committed by another, but without such previous concert with or subsequent assistance to the felon as would make the party concealing an accessory before or after the fact. So when you look at it, people always think, oh, does that apply? No, because we know the citizens are also your public servants as well. These elected officials are citizens. I showed you in Title 26 of the Internal Revenue Code exactly who citizens are, who are employees, and who are the employers. So these people have, and you say, well, it's got to be noticed to the judicial. But if you have if you got so-called judges operating in a official capacity as a judge, they are bound by those ethics. And if they're operating outside of that, they're no longer judges. They fall under these two categories right here. They fall under those two categories. But let me give you an example by reading this. Now, if we go back here, chapter 77, this is peonage, slavery, and trafficking in persons. All right. So now let's go to 82, which is vessels for slave trade. Whoever, whether as master, factor, or owner, builds, fits out, equips, loads, or otherwise prepares or sends away any vessel in any port or place within the United States, or causes such vessel to sail from any such port or place for the purpose of procuring any person from any foreign kingdom or country to be transported and held, sold, or otherwise disposed of as a slave, or held to service or labor, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 7 years or both. How does this fit? Let's use me for an example. If let's back it up even further. Let's do it like this. If I built a facility on one end, I'm gonna be the eye on this end, I'm gonna be the eye on the other end. I'm gonna be on both ends, right? So if I build a facility of any sort, if I build any type of structure that is knowingly and consciously built in order to what? It was built for the purpose of procuring any person from any foreign kingdom, or foreign country, right? So I used it to sail from any such port or place for the purpose, sail. So right? So if I did that, foreign kingdom, foreign country, to be transported and held sold, or otherwise disposed of as a slave or held to service or labor shall be fined under this title or in prison. So if I built something, a structure, to move around, to do that, built vessels, right? And this was to do what? Build, I built it, fit out, equip, load, prepare, or send away. So it said, or sends away. So what covers that, right? So I have a courtroom. I have what you would consider to be a courthouse. I also have what? Chairs, benches, clerks, because I'm equipping all this, right? Fits out, everything's set up. I have holding cells, right? Then when I come out of here, I got to put so-called judges in here, which are not judges. I have all these administrative commissioners, all these different aspects of it. But then also, I actually equipped and send away, right? So what do I have? I have police officers, sheriffs. I also have police cars, paddy wagons, vans, trucks. See what I'm saying? And I also equip them with weapons. You dig? I equip them with weapons for the business of procuring, right? So procuring. Let's see what that means real quick. Search the web for procuring. That means to get by special effort, obtain, or acquire, to bring about, effect, to obtain for another. So if we have that in place, cool. So, and we get any person from any foreign kingdom or country, a foreign country. So we say, okay, so the whole United States, 1871, has been built and created for what tactic? Well, what we know in our situation, it was pretty much built to enslave a certain people, right? Initially. And then over time, anybody can get it with them now. But for that time, and really what the main focus has been, as we see the police running from the white boy, and then the police stomping out as a group, rat packing, a brother. See what I'm saying? So we have, under these circumstances, right? So in procuring, we've got that definition. Any person, because persons is the title that they use within the United States language in legalese, right? Transport, get in the car, handcuffs, move him. Taking from his foreign kingdom, right? What is the foreign kingdom? That foreign kingdom is his automobile that he might be in, or just in his own body. Wherever he stands is Indian country. Wherever he's at is his tribal land. Wherever he steps his foot. On top of that, if we're just dealing with somebody that wants to be called Black, African American, or otherwise, wherever you're at is your home. Wherever you hang your hat is your home. So if you get pulled out of that foreign place into another direction to be transported and moved, which happens, you get put in the car, you get moved. Actually, if you pull me out my car, you just did that. Even if you don't do anything after that, you have taken me out of that out of my foreign jurisdiction into your jurisdiction to do something. And that is to transport and hold, sold, or otherwise. to dispose of that person as a slave or to hold to service or labor. Because even during that time, you're holding me there. Yeah, it's money. If I sign that ticket, yeah, that's money. Doesn't go that far. Disposed. Right? So, to put into a willing or receptive frame of mind, incline, place or set in a particular order or range to determine the course of events. So that is to dispose of. That means that you are up under their whim now. You didn't went into their foreign. You didn't went to your foreign. You came out of your foreign kingdom, got pulled out of your own foreign kingdom and been put into their jurisdiction in order for them to dispose of you. That means to determine what they're going to do for let's see, what I'm going to do to them today. See? So, what is a vessel? See, this is where we get into the key things to say, how can I apply that? But they always try to talk you out of 18 USC code. They try to talk you out of these things. Peonage has already been abolished within the continental United States. So if I'm confused on how to use that, then we understand that the United States is a corporation under the New Deal that took place even prior to what people think in the 30s, that this actually was being reconstructed way back in the 1870s. Actually, prior to that, 20 years prior to that, in 1852, they was already working on it. You see, so if these things were all set up to remove the constitutional republic and therefore also remove any allegiance to the treaties, therefore also remove any rule of law and anything that will pertain to the law of the land and any type of supremacy. You're only dealing with vessels. Everything is a vessel. Everything is considered to be a vessel. We're vessels. Right? Because we got to carry what we carry within us. You know what I'm saying? And it's our duty. But we don't even have control of our own body. Sorry to say, but hey, but this is how you get the control. Nobody can tell me they're in control of their body. Nobody. I know that sounds a little bit off, but this is where the continuity goes between people and the world, and the universe, and everything else that comes into play. I digress off that. But the vessel. Now, let me give you another one. Let me show you how constructive this is. Enticement into slavery. Why is this here? Why is this chapter even here? Why? Because there is a sense that there's still aspects of what you would call involuntary servitude and peonage and slavery still in place. And they knew they couldn't get rid of it. This is why this stuff, why do you need these laws if it's supposed to have been abolished? Because they know it hasn't been. It was just something that was sold for the benefit of the United States and whoever special interest groups that was with it. Right? So here we go. Whoever kidnaps or carries away any other person with the intent that such other person be sold into involuntary servitude or held as a slave. Let's start with number one. Kidnaps or carry away the intent that such other person be sold. So there's a bond on you, right? So you got to go get them papers. There's a warrant put out. We already saw what a warrant is. It's a promissory note. So and amongst other things. And there's a penal sum on top of it, a dollar amount. They go get you. And guess what? They just got paid. They just got paid to go pick you up and ship you out. So now we have the previous one. We got the previous one. That was 1582. Now we got 1583. So that's just number one. Number two, entices, persuades, or induces. So you have the DMV. You have the DMV. And you have commercials that say, get your driver's license, right? You actually had it in school. I don't think they have those in driver's ed in schools now. I think they took that out, probably because they were smart. Maybe it's still there. So you're going to go get a driver's license without being fully disclosed what a driver is and what the license is for. So if that's the case, then you got to understand that, hey, we might have an issue here. You got it? Might have an issue here. Because if I know what a driver is and what a license is for and all this time, I would not go get it. But if I don't have it, I might get pulled over. So they're enticing me to do something that's going to put myself in a position, right? Entice, persuade, or induce me to go on board any vessel or to any other place with the intent that I may be made or held as a slave. So if I get the driver's license and I don't put my blinker on, and if I don't register my car with the Department of Motor Vehicles, I'm going to get pulled over. But at the same time, if I do, I'm still going to get pulled over. Why? Because light bulb might have went out and I didn't notice that. And they say, hey, you get that. Well, I got to give you this fix-it ticket. So fix it. If you don't get it fixed by this time, then this is going to happen. All these things happen at the same time, right? Entice, persuade, induce. To go on board any vessel. What is that vessel? The vessel is the Department of Motor Vehicles. You didn't know that was a fixture? Department of Motor Vehicles is a vessel. So you're enticed to go into the Department of Motor Vehicles. You're persuaded to do that based on these things, these fear tactics that they give you. Well, if you don't register it, you can get your car towed. If you don't have it insured, you can get your car towed. You got to do it. But you really don't have to. But if you don't, this is like they say, oh, well, you get a jury trial, but you know how that might go. Or you can have a court trial, or you got all these options. You're persuading me. You're enticing me into something. I haven't heard anything else. These are my only options, right? Now, number 3, obstructs or attempts to obstruct or any way interferes with or prevents the enforcement of the section. So if I go to court and I bring a claim of this action, and the court then now uses their officers and their tactics to try to prevent that claim that I'm saying it just happened, and I put it in this format, and they interfere, here we go. What do we have? We have shall be fined under this title in prison not more than 30 years. Now, you still have misprision of felony. You have misprision of treason because you're dealing with enticement, kidnapping, and all these different things. Now, it says on this one in B, whoever violates this section shall be fined this title in prison for any term of years or for life or both. See what I'm saying? Now, we go back. Sale into involuntary servitude, seizure, detention, transportation, or sale of slaves. Let's look at that one. Whoever being a citizen or a resident of the United States and a member of the crew or ship's company of any foreign vessel. Well, there's no ships. Oh, well, there's no company. Oh, really? Well, if you saying that, you haven't been paying attention or you're kind of new to this channel. So you see where this is going? Of any foreign vessel engaged in the slave trade, or whoever being of the crew or ship's company of any vessel owned in whole or in part. So we're talking about investors. Owned in whole or in part, or whoever, or navigated for, or in behalf of any citizen of the United States. Lands. Lands from such vessel. And on any foreign shore seizes any person with intent to make that person a slave, or decoys, or forcibly brings, carries, receives, confinements, detains, or transports. Does that fit? I think so. If you look at it from the perspective that they say the United States is Washington, D.C., 28 U.S.C. 3002, 14 and 15, and all the other definitions with it. Right? Service on vessels in slave trade, possession of slaves aboard vessel, transportation of slaves from the United States, forced labor. Right, now we understand what we have here. Mandatory restitution. But you see, we're trying to look for everything on the civil side or on the light side. We're just saying of a tort. Trying to find remedy and just be able to walk away instead of saying, okay, well, I hear people a lot talk about, hey, we need to do something about this, man. We need to stop talking. We need to get something done. Well, how are you going to be able to get it done and make it stick and make it mean something? All right. We're talking about restitution here. Mandatory. What do you say? Mando. Got it? All right. Now, what I'm going to do right here is I am going to take a look at the chat. There's 4 people in here. Procure. Rich said procure equals pimping. All right, so he got up here 2 Timothy 3:8, reprobate mind. All right, we'll pull that up. Let me go ahead and play this real quick. This is from, okay, I'm up. All right, cool. This is from Firekeeper.
You've had your voice here for 524 years. 524 years you've been visible, white lady.
Well, have you seen how much teenagers are going missing in Thunder Bay? You know, there's white supremacy, obviously. You know, that's what's going on. You know, that young boy. Yeah.
How can he be blamed for that? I mean, you don't think that anything he's doing is helping the situation? Is he an improvement over Stephen Harper? I mean, what talk about the record? Is it?
Excuse me, did I just hear you correctly? How can he be blamed for that? No. Excuse me. Don't speak to us that way.
Stop right now. You do not speak to us that way. We are human beings, and the way that you're speaking to us
is not acceptable. No, stop it. Stop it right now.
We don't want you here. Can you please leave?
Step out. Step out. Then I don't want to hear from you. You don't speak to us like that.
Pretty simple question.
Yeah.
An answer.
And this is the problem, the way you communicate.
I'm not insinuating anything. I'm looking for information.
I'm not going to argue with you.
I'm not arguing. No, stop. Stop. You need to stop. You need to stop. Stop. You're a guest here, and you don't even know how to speak to us. You don't even recognize the tone in your voice and your delivery. And no, you're done. You're done. Next question.
I'll re-ask you his question. How do you think?
You want to re-ask?
Yes. How do you think?
You better, we have a holistic genocide happening here. Don't speak on behalf of Julie.
Just answer the question,
I can
please.
speak for myself. I was asking.
And I can speak for myself. You know what, white people, you've had your voice here for 524 years. 524 years you've been visible, white lady. You've been visible for 524 years. Look how fast your white man comes and steps up for you. Where is everybody else to come and step up for us? You know what, white people, you've had your...
Oh, that was powerful. Sheesh. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this up real quick. And I can't. Hold on, let's do this. Boom. Hold on, let's delete comment. I can't even put using comment. Yeah, he had put these in prior to the chat going on. I can't even pull him up. Damn. Where you at, Doris? I can't even pull these bad boys up. Can't pull them up, Doris. So I need to figure this one out. Hold on, let's go over here. Let's go over here. Where you at? Hold on, let's come down here. Let me remove this. I'm trying to see how I can get Darvis's up here. Where you at, Darvis? There you go. All right, so let's pull this up. Yeah, I can't even pull them up. So, can't do nothing about that. All right, so what we're going to do is I want to take a look. This other one that she brought, None of Your Business had brought up. This is like 16 minutes. Let's see real quick.
250,000 children, no parents, no last names, no birth certificates, no records of where they came from or who they belong to. Loaded onto trains between 1854 and 1929 and shipped across America like freight, distributed to strangers in 47 states. And somehow this is a footnote in history books, not a chapter. I found it while pulling threads on the 1890 census destruction, searching for what else vanished during that same window of time. One record gap led to another, which led to a name I'd never encountered in any classroom. The orphan trains, the largest mass relocation of children in American history. A 75-year program that moved 250,000 human beings across a continent, and most people have never heard of it. That alone should bother you. But what bothered me more was the math. The official story goes like this. In the 1850s, eastern cities were overwhelmed by immigration. Families poured in from Europe, crammed into tenement housing, and when parents succumbed to disease, poverty, or addiction, their children ended up on the streets. New York City alone had an estimated 10,000 to 30,000 homeless children by 1850. A Yale-educated minister named Charles Loring Brace saw these children sleeping in alleyways, forming gangs for protection, getting arrested and thrown into adult prisons as young as 5 years old, and he decided to act. In 1853, he founded the Children's Aid Society. His solution was simple. Take these children out of the city, put them on trains, send them to wholesome farming families in the Midwest who needed labor and could provide moral upbringing. The first train left New York on October 1, 1854, carrying 46 children to Dowagiac, Michigan. By the end of the week, all 46 had been placed with families. The program expanded. Other organizations joined. The New York Foundling Hospital, the American Female Guardian Society. Over 20 separate agencies eventually participated,
And for 75 years, the trains kept running. Now, here's where I'll be fair to the official narrative. Many children did land in loving homes. 2 orphan train riders went on to become state governors, Andrew Burke of North Dakota and John Brady of Alaska. A 1910 survey claimed 87% of placements were successful. Charles Loring Brace genuinely believed he was saving lives, and
Interesting.
in many cases, he probably was. I don't dispute that. What I dispute is the scale. What I dispute is the origin. What I dispute is the silence surrounding the parts of this story that don't fit. Let's start with the numbers. New York City's total population in 1850 was approximately 500,000 people. The claim is that 10,000 to 30,000 of them were homeless children. That's anywhere from 2 to 6% of the entire city consisting of parentless children. By the 1870s, despite the establishment of orphanages, charitable organizations, settlement houses, and the Children's Aid Society itself working around the clock, the number of homeless children grew to between 20,000 and 30,000. The programs weren't reducing the problem. The supply of parentless children kept increasing. Where were the parents? Immigration records exist. Ship manifests exist. Ellis Island processed families together, not unaccompanied minors, by the tens of thousands. If these children arrived in America with families, something happened to those families after arrival. Something so widespread and so thorough that it produced 250,000 children whose origins couldn't be traced over the course of 7 decades.
Look at these places. Look at these buildings. This is like Moorish design. Look at this. Look at those things up there. Those are like conductors. Electricity. Harness electricity. Look at this. Hey, come on, man. You don't build this in 2 years. Don't happen. So that's good enough for right now. Now, I want to bring up a couple of I want to go back over here and bring up definition of issue. What the sister said, issue. What is that, 1040? That is 1040. 1040. Issue. I want to get some of these definitions right. To send for, to admit, to promulgate as an officer issues orders, send out, writ issue. Financial power term issue seems to have 2 phrases. Date of issue when applied to notes and bonds. When bonds are delivered, issue now, the act of issuance and forth emitting. Single certain, issue. Disputed point of question. Issue arises. Issue. I'm not looking at the definition. I'm not seeing the definition she was talking about. Ultimate issue signifies either such an issue as within itself as sufficient as final for disposition of the entire case, or one which in connection with other issues will serve such end. First State Bank of Seminole versus Dillard. Wow. Bank of Seminole. Issue in fact, issue in law. In pleading an issue upon matter of law. Well, I don't know where she got that definition at, but she used that definition from a different angle, which I could still roll with. You'll see if I could find it. Now, when you get over, this is something I want to pull up, right? So this Race in America from the Naturalization Act of 1790. It's like a brief excerpt. right? So it says slavery helped to shape the identity, the sense of self of all Americans, constituting impenetrable boundary of citizenship. Slavery rendered blacks all but invisible to those imagining the American community itself. When Hector St. John Crevecoeur posed his famous question, "What then is the American, this new man?" he answered, "A mixture of English, Scotch, Irish, French, Dutch, Germans, and Swedes." Right? What then is the American? This new man? This new man, he answered. So we have this group. Now remember, these groups of people, right, fall under the free white persons. Right? They fall under the free white persons. Okay. It says he is either a European or the descent of a European. This at a time when fully 1/5 of the population, the highest proportion in our history, consisted of Africans and their descendants. Let me read that again. This at a time when fully 1/5 of the population consisted of Africans and their descendants. Okay. Now, it says the power of slavery to shape ideas about race and its connection to American identity was revealed in the Naturalization Act of 1790, which offered the first legislative definition of American nationality. With no debate, Congress restricted the process of becoming a citizen to free white persons. For 80 years, only white immigrants could become naturalized citizens. Blacks were added in 1870, but not until the 1940s did persons of Asian origin become eligible. Now you see how this information is being twisted. It's being very twisted. You understand that when you know history from one perspective, and somebody then comes and tells you, right, something different. They tell you something different. And then at some point in time, it is being repeated and repeated and repeated. Then you say, well, there must be some truth to it. But that infiltration of the information then becomes what? Agreed upon by silence because it was never rebutted or never questioned. Where you get this information from? What do you mean by these groups of people? These Irish, French, Dutch, Germans, so on and so forth. What do you mean by that? Where they come from? Nobody asked the question. Now, I could read the rest of this, but I'm not. All right. Now, I want to bring up these definitions real quick. This is an 1865 Webster's Dictionary. You know what we're going to do? We're going to go look for some words. The Webster's Dictionary. Now, we're not dealing with the Law Dictionary. This is an 1865 Webster's Dictionary. Oh, make sure I ain't forgetting nothing. I don't miss nothing there. All right. Oh, let's come down. Let's minimize this a little bit. So I don't miss nothing. Okay, let's go. Okay, so if we look at this closely, this says, I think this is Alex Sinclair, Detroit, 14th of October, 1865. Okay, so we see that for the record. We're going to look up some words. There go this guy. This is supposed to be Noah Webster. Supposed to be. All right. So as you see right here, this says dictionary, a dictionary of the English language by Noah Webster. And it says, he that wishes to be counted among the benefactors of posterity must add by his own toil to the acquisitions of his ancestors. Okay, so that's what it says right there. Springfield, Massachusetts. Let's go ahead and keep scrolling. All right, so here we go. Okay, so it's thoroughly revised and greatly enlarged and improved by Chauncey A. Goodrich. Okay. So I think this has probably been added in, Springfield, Massachusetts. This is 1865. Entered according to the Act of Congress in the year 1864 by G and C Merriam. You know, you have these Merriam dictionaries as well. In the clerk's office of the District Court of the District of Massachusetts, entered according to Act of Congress in the year 1859. Right, so this is just all the details. So we're going down to 1847, and then you also have entered according to Act of Congress in the year 1840 by Noah Webster in the clerk's office, library, June 4th, 1967, University of Toronto. This is in Toronto. It's 1967. So that means somebody scanned it then. So it says preface. Let's see what the preface says. Anything important? Anything important? Let's go look. This okay, what does this say? Right here. It says, at the urgent solicitation of his valued friends, the publishers, as well as the other family interested and of his beloved associate, the late Edward C. Herrick, whose acquaintance with the dictionary and whose interest in it extended back to the publication of the first edition in 1828, Fiat first consented to undertake a general superintendence of the revision. Custodial, that's what I want to look up. All right, I got it. I knew it would come back to me. See what the dictionary do? All right, so we're looking at it from this perspective. And what's going on, E-Nuts? What's going on, brother? I was looking at my phone. Wait a minute. Okay, let me see. Oh, I ain't got my camera on. E-Nuts, what's good? What's good? Say that sound like the movie Gang of New York. Yeah. Yep. It is. So it says, I'm looking to see if I can see anything decent at this point in time. Be desirous, so I to condense some of the etymological articles. And all right, here we go. Let's look at the bottom here. Okay, so it says, let's see if I can blow it up just a little bit. Right here. So it having been deemed desirable slightly to condense some of the etymological articles furnished by Dr. Mann and to translate portions of them into English. This work was committed to the care of Mr. Eugene Schuyler under the direction of Professor James Hadley of Yale College. Here we go. The derivation of a number of words of Indian origin has been furnished by the Honorable J. Hammond Trumbull of Hartford, well known as a learned and accurate student of the Aboriginal languages of America. This is 1865. Now, I know y'all probably weren't prepared for this because I got the gold, I got the Fiat, and I got the gold coins, got the little, but I'm going to get to that. But I touched on it so you guys can understand that Fiat is everywhere. It's everywhere. But get this clear, 1865. So this Trumbull of Hartford, well known as a learned and accurate student of the Aboriginal languages of America. So let's see what else it says. It says, to the Reverend Chauncey Goodrich was committed the very important duty of receiving the mass material furnished by the most of the assistants who have been named, verifying its accuracy, and then incorporating it into the final copy of the printer. So what were they doing? Translating Aboriginal languages to fit in their form of English language, we'll say that, to be able to communicate amongst the people. So if you're talking about Aboriginal languages, that means there are multiple. Number two, that means there are books already, there are scripts and everything, and writings and letters and all the different things going on. Number three, that means that your language has its foundation in Aboriginal languages. Because if you came over here, because the story is they came over here, taught and brought the English language and all that stuff with them. But they created their whole dictionary based off Aboriginal languages. Why would they do that? If all these people weren't here, it was wiped out, or they were just sitting over here, hey ya, with the woo woo woo, dancing around in a circle in diapers and teepees. See what I'm saying? So Fiat comes in many forms and fashion. You see. Now, let's continue. Let's see what else we can find here. Mr. Goodrich has also revised or prepared many of the definitions. Wait for it. In agriculture, horticulture, in antiquities, architecture, in biblical matters, and in ecclesiastical history, in commerce, domestic economy, and the fine arts, making use of the best authorities in each of these departments. Remember up here, stay with Aboriginal languages. Don't leave there, because remember, when somebody puts their own stab in narrative, you're going to think that they brought that in there. No, what it said is revised. In all of these different areas. Aboriginal languages of America. Got it? Got it? Okay, so long as you know you got it. Remember, this right here. Remember this right here. Where is it at? Native Americans. Let's go here. No, not that one. All right, we're gonna pull that up. Then we gotta do with where we at? There we go. All right, remember what we looked up, right? Remember what we looked up when we was looking at this American Indian contributions to the world, this encyclopedia, and it talked about the League of Nations, for an example, cities, names. All right, just wanted to bring that to your attention. All right, just want to bring that to your attention. All right, so if you go through here, I just did that one thing: disability rights, diabetes, deodorants, going quick, right? Boom. Dentistry, democracy, dentistry, democracy. See, United States Constitution, American Indian influence on dentistry, 1000 BC, dental inlays. All right. Okay. We good? All right, we're good. Let's get back over here to. All right, making sure I'm straight. Making sure I'm straight. Now, if I blow this up, see how much I could blow this up on. I use this as, a thumbnail. This right here is, I'm going to scroll down, is a conveyance of land from 1636 from a Narragansett chief. This is in English, what you would consider to be English, and it's in cursive. It's got a little cursive to it. If you see right here in this little area, because, it's to a point, let me see if I can get it up. Yeah, there it is. Here you go. Boom. English. English. 1636. You see? So we're not going to get confused here. Just keep it basic. I'm not saying too much, just showing. All right. Now, let's get back over here to 1865 Webster's Dictionary. All right, let's see what else we can find here. I'm pretty much done. I'm just going through this real quick. I was going to end off with this so we can remember here. I'm trying to figure out how I can end these things off smoothly so y'all can take something with you that you can actually hold on to. Because I know a lot of stuff I'm talking about be going right over your head. So it was cool. All right. Okay. It says right here, the preparation of the appendix was entrusted almost entirely to the supervision of Mr. Wheeler, who has read every page of it with critical care. The pronouncing vocabulary of scripture names was wholly prepared by him, and he constructed the very interesting and valuable vocabulary of the names of noted fictitious person, places, etc. The full and accurate pronouncing vocabulary of Greek and Latin proper names. Say what? Was prepared with much labor and care by Professor Thomas A. Thatcher of Yale College. People say, well, that came from somewhere else, Greek, and I don't know about that. It's the way it's stating it is still saying that they are translating here. And they're trying to get the full and accurate pronouncing of these Greek and Latin names. And much labor went into it. Wow. Let's see what else we can find here. Let's see what else we can find here. All right. So I think we got a clear one on that one. Here we go. All right. So the revised etymology. Let's see what this says. Feature has already been noticed. It is believed that critical readers will acknowledge the learning, the brevity, the sound judgment, the self-explaining order, and the minutely trace ramifications which characterize these etymologies. And it is hoped that they will attract the attention and stimulate the studies of all who desire to know more of the varied history of their mother tongue. All righty. Now, we are going to go look for some words here. That's what we're going to do. All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. This is a hell of a book right here. I'm telling you. And it ain't hard to find. I forgot how I got it. The American Dictionary of the English language has increased so rapidly within a few years past. I'm looking. See if we can find some other stuff here. Etymologies. All right. Let's go to the search. Indian. Let's go Aboriginal. No results found. Indian. Well, man. Okay, so brief history of the English language. Language kindred to the English, Anglo-Saxon, Teutonic, Indo-European. The Indian, the Sanskrit of the four Vedas, the sacred books of the Brahmin religion. Okay, so they got the Indian here. They got it up under that thing. Slavonic, it's Teutonic, the High Germanic, the Low Germanic, the Greek, the Norse languages, the Celtic. We just found something here. Uh-huh. All right, so let's go to the next one. Boom. We're just looking here. Let's go here to America. This is 1865. Let's see what happened. We got the 1828 one that we showed. Let's go to the 1865. I just want to look up some quick ones. This is what I'm going to here. American. Here we go. All right. Let's see if it has changed. Pertaining to America, right down here. In a restricted sense, pertaining to the United States, a young officer of the American Navy. American noun, a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginal inhabitants, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America, and in a restricted sense to the inhabitants of the United States in a restricted sense. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go to black. It's 1865. Let's find black here. No, we don't. Nah, I ain't doing it like that. Hold on. Just going to go look up these words real quick. I know it took me a while, but hey, you know me. The people that are here are going to be here. Ones ain't. Ain't. All right, hold on. Come on. Let's get that up. We're going to look up these words. Let's find black. Black. All righty then. It's 1865, y'all. Black. Dark. Swarthy. Southwest, I guess that's what it's saying. Swedish or whatever. Black. Dan. Black. Blackish. Like the tribe of Dan. Blackish. Blackened, to burn with a black smoke. Iceland. So you got, okay, yes, Swedish. That's SW. That's Germanic, Latin Germanic, and Dutch. Blacken or Bluken. A through S. I don't know what that is. Whatever them people are. Black. Ink. Iceland. Black. Dan. Oh, that's Danish. Danish. All right, Danish. Bluk. Bloke. Bluck. This word ought not to be confounded with English bleak. Blake, bleak, bleak, see, bleak. Destitute of, okay, number one. That's what they saying here. Dark, swarthy, okay, we got that. Number one, destitute of light or incapable of reflecting it of the color of soot or coal, as black cloth. O night with hue so black. Number two, in a less literal sense, very dark or gloomy, as the heavens black with clouds. I spy a black, suspicious, threatening cloud. Number three, dismal, gloomy, forbidding, like darkness, destitute of moral light, or goodness, mournful, calamitous, horrible, wicked. This day's black fate, black villainy, arise black vengeance, black and blue, the dark color of a bruise to the flesh. Let's get this other one. That is the adjective. Okay, so this one was the adjective, had an A right there. That was an adjective. Black, now this is a noun. that which is destitute of light or whiteness, the darkest color, or rather a destitution of all color, as a cloth has a good black. Black is the badge of hell, the hue of dungeons, and the scowl of night. Number 2, a Negro, a person whose skin is black. There we go, a Negro. Now we got a full definition here. A person whose skin is black, a Negro. So we're good. We have it there. Now, let's look up. We got to go in order here. We got to go in order here. So let's go to citizen. We got to look up these words. I want you guys to be clear. A citizen, H-I-H-I. Citizen. Here we go. All right, so here we go. So what it says right here. Okay, so a citizen, one who enjoys the freedom and privileges of a city, the freeman of a city, as distinguished from a foreigner or one not entitled to its franchises. Here we go. An inhabitant in any city, town, or place. So that is what a citizen is. So it's a citizen. So it deals with a city, enjoying the freedom and privileges of a city. Okay, so we know Washington, D.C. is considered to be a city. City of Washington, D.C. You see them on all land patents. Okay, so it says also a person, native or naturalized, who has the privilege of voting for public officers and who is qualified to fill offices in the gift of the people. Also, any native born or naturalized person or either sex who is entitled to full protection and exercise and enjoyment of the so-called private rights. U.S. Citizen, having the conditional qualities of a citizen or of citizen as a citizen soldiery. Citizenship, the state of being vested with the rights and privileges of a citizen. Now, let's go to the term. Let me get that out of here. Let's go to native. Gotta go to native. And then we'll go to Negro, and then we'll go to white. Native. All right. Native. This is a good one. Nation. Okay, let's look up nation. Here we go right here. The body of inhabitants of a country, united under the same government, a people as distinguished from those of different descent, language, or institution, race, stock. So that is your definition of nation. Nation. The body of inhabitants of a country. A people. That is the nation. There's no nation without people. The people are the nation. Just remember that. So, national, pertaining to a nation, common to a whole people or race, public, general as a national language, dress, custom, calamity, and the like. Attached custom, attached special to one's own country, devoted to the nation as distinguished from other nations. Nationalism, the state of being national, national attachment, nationality. an idiom, trait, or character peculiar to any nation. All right. Got that. Now, let's go to native. Well, here it is. Native. This is the adjective, arising from by birth, having origin, born. Anaximander's opinion is that the gods are, okay, that's just an example, pertaining to one's birth, natal, belonging to the place or circumstances in which one is born, as native land, language, color, and the like, hence conferred by birth, derived from origin or stock, born with one. Indigenous, not acquired. It's back. Number 3, hence conferred by birth, derived from origin or stock, born with one. Semicolon. Indigenous, not acquired. As native genius, cheerfulness, simplicity, rights, and the like. Produced by nature in its original or natural condition, not wrought by art, not factitious, unartificial, as native metal, that is, metal as found in nature. So that's unartificial, meaning not artificial, not factitious, okay? Of kindred origin, allied by nature, congenial. You guys might want to utilize the word, rethink this word, Native American. So by this definition, 1865, right? Remember, this is the 1865 Webster Dictionary. Native means indigenous. Well, not means. Native is synonymous with indigenous. Origins of one birth. Rethink that. Now, if these people are claiming themselves to be Native Americans, and they're saying that they're indigenous, there's your challenge. But who cannot be considered to be native or indigenous after a certain period of time? But if these people have their origins somewhere else, then they're not native to America, correct? Correct. But if these people are claiming to be of such, you know, being that they might be naturalized, you know, coming over here, because I think a lot of people think that these so-called, what you call Native Americans, what we just saw in that video, actually come from Siberia. You know, in Siberia, that's outside of Russia, what you consider to be Alaska to, you know, Alaska, you know, that's not too far off. I'm not good at geography. All right. But here we go. This is native. Let's see what we got here. Native. Native. Okay, native, nativeness, nativism, nativity. We don't need to read all these. We're just going through the definitions. Let's go over here. I want to look up Natchez. Let's see if Natchez is in there. No, it said Nasuti. Natchez. Nope. All right. So now we can go look at, but we don't see here Native American. We saw American, we saw that definition, but we haven't seen Native American. But by the definition of an American, then you'll know exactly that there is indigenous, you know, Aboriginal copper colored people, right? So there we go. Now let's go over to white. Let's go to white. All right, let's go to white. See what we find here. Oh, I forgot to look up Negro. All right, I'll go back. All right, white. That's the adjective. Having the color of pure snow, snowy, not dark, reflecting the eye of all the rays of spectrum combined, not tinted with any of the proper colors, right? Number 2, destitute of color, as in the checks or of the tinge of blood color. The tinge of blood color, pale as white with fear. So what's the difference between black and white? We saw black saying destitute of color, void of color, and white is, well, just want to throw that at y'all. I had a thesaurus that actually, that's when you looked up black, it said see white. I wish I still had that. One of my brother has it. Hence, having the color of purity, pure, clean, free from spot or blemish. See what I'm saying? See how they switched up here? Right as they feign, as the, okay, so number 4, gray, as the effective age. Oh, like he said, gray girl. Gray as the effective age, having colorless hair. Your high engendered battles against it, okay, characterized by freedom from which that which defiles, disturbs, and the like. It's innocent, fortunate, happy, favorable. White and okay, so here we go. Hey, hold on. It's a lot of them. Okay, so we have let's go to noun. Okay. We get past that. Okay, so 4, one of the white race of men. White of a seed. Okay. Whatever that means. That ain't nothing. You ain't said nothing. White. Down here. To make white, to whiten, to whitewash. Okay. White blaze, white boy, one of certain disturbers of the peace by night. Uh-oh. White boy, that's a good one. One of the certain disturbers of the peace by night, one of a band of insurgents or levelers which arose in Ireland in 1762. The members of which were so called from the color of their clothes. White boyism, conduct or principles of the white boys. We got to look this up. Okay, there we go. White land, white, tough clay soil of a whitish hue when dry, but blackish after rain. Right. Whitewash or plastered with lime. Okay. All right, let's go over here. We don't, okay, so let's go back here. Let's go back up here to Negro. Let's see what a Negro is. It's like they just had these words all different based on the area or based on the people. Like the people had their own definitions for these words. Okay, a negress, a Negro, a black woman, a female Negro, Negro, plural, Negroes. So that's Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese, Negro, French, Negre. From Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese, Negro, black. From Latin, Niger, French. Noir, or is nigger, Latin, nigger. Okay, black man, especially one of a race of black or very dark persons who inhabit the greater part of Africa. and are distinguished by crisp or curly hair, flat noses, high cheekbones, and thick protruding lips. Negro corn. The Indian Malay or Dura, so called in the West Indies. See, Dura, Simons. Okay. Negro head. And that's COM, tobacco prepared by softening with molasses and then pressing it into cakes, called also Cavendish. The Indian, okay, so the Indian Malay, so it's just saying now, they don't even, so, okay. So why don't they have all these French FRs and ITs and SPs and PGs for this? It's talking about Negro corn. So that has to be, I don't know what this COM stands for. But hey, look like this might be an indigenous word here. It don't have no other name no other thing connected to it like the Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, French, Latin. So this Negro head, tobacco prepared by softening with molasses, then pressing it into cakes. So they was mixing tobacco with molasses and making cakes out of it. See, if you pressing it into cakes, that's kind of like a pancake. Negroloid, pertaining to men who have resemblance to Negroids, resembling the Negroid. See, now you got QV, you got GR, that's Greek. The gundo, a genus of small, handsome trees grown in America. Negus. 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 That's how I say it. You got the thing over the top of the E, that's negus. Negus. A liquor made of wine, water, sugar, nutmeg, and lemon juice. So called, it is said, from its first maker, Colonel Negus. Ooh. Colonel Negus. 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 All right. Trying to get the pronunciations cool. But there we go. There we go. I don't know. This is 1865, though. We need to get to 1828 next, and we need to do a compare. I also want to show you this, right? I'm going to start coming over here to this 1856 Bouvier's dictionary. And come to this Bouvier. Then we can start looking into some of these words. See what I'm saying? All right. See, some of these words are very simple. All right. So we're going to start looking at some of these words in Bouvier's. I just want to give you a quick look. All right. Quick look. Let me look this up real quick. All right, there's Negro. Word is never applied to tawny or olive-colored inhabitants of northern coast of Africa, but the more southern race of men who are quite black. Africa. Okay, so this is the 1828 one. Okay, let's go to black. That which is destitute of light or whiteness, the darkest color, or rather a destitutional color. A Negro, a person whose skin is black. Gotcha. So, this black term, it's been around. It's been around here. American. Okay. That did not change. Okay. Native. That has not changed. Okay. White. Let's go to the noun. Okay, so white, adjective. Being in a color, pale, destitute of color in the cheeks, or the tinge of blood color is white, that stayed the same. Having the color of purity, pure, clean, gray as white hair, same, pure, unblemished. No whiter page than Addison remains. In the scriptural sense, purified from sin, sanctified. Now, got an issue here. There is no noun for the word white in 1828. This is the Webster's Dictionary in 1828. Yes, isness. North Africa. You guys can look that up, put that to the link. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this is what this says right here. There's no noun here in 1828. In this 1865 one, it is. So something changed. Something had changed, as it wasn't recognized. Oh, let's make sure I ain't tripping. Make sure I ain't tripping. Okay, here we go. Oh, there we go. So this is adjective. See, this thing is way more extensive than it was back then. Look at all this. Man. Okay, so here's the noun. So now we got a noun for white. One of the white race of men. And this thing came in, this is 1865, so we got an issue here that we need to figure out. We have that right there. Okay. Now here's Indian. Pertaining to either the Indies, west or east. All right. General name of any native of the Indies, as in East Indian or West Indian, is particularly applied to any native of the American continent. Okay. So now we got arrowroot, cress, fig, plant of the genus cactus, a substance brought from Indian ink, a substance brought from China, used for watercolors. It is in rolls or in square cakes, and is said to consist of lampblack and animal glue. Indian, active, from India, and this from Indus, the name of a river in Asia, pertaining to either of the Indies, east or west, particularly applied to any native of the American continent. Well, let's go here then. Let's go look up India. Let's look it up. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, so it says right here. It's the adjective. Okay, so 1, geography of or pertaining to either of the Indies, East or West, or to the Aborigines of America. So now we have an issue here where it's looking like it's saying that the West and the East Indies are in America. Okay, because it's saying or to the Aborigines of America. Got it? So you're dealing with geographic there, and you're dealing with the people as well. So made of maize or Indian corn, as Indian meal, Indian bread, and the like. Okay, so that's anything that deals with maize or corn or any meal, I guess that's Indian. That's how they got it in there. Now, as I explained here in the pronunciation of it, Yan. Or you have it right here with this thing over the top of the I is Jan. Like I said, the DI. A lot of people be like, oh, you got to say it right. It's not Indian, it's Indian or Injan. All right? See, once you know the proper pronunciation of it, then you'll be able to put it in its proper place. Now, you got, so we have geography again. And then number 2 says a native of or inhabitant of the Indies, as in East Indian or West Indian. So this is America. Jack, sorry. Blame Webster for that. Blame Noah Webster. I ain't make the book. Number 2, one of the Aboriginal inhabitants of America. And we know America is what? The Aboriginal colored people of America. Americans, right? So we got the connection. We have Indian, Aboriginal, Native, Indigenous, inhabitants, America. East Indies, West Indies. West Indian, East Indian. America. Got it? We all right with that? We'll be all right with it if you're not. Okay, so let's finish reading this. So-called originally from the idea on the part of Columbus and the early navigators of the identity of America with India. So-called originally, so-called. But we just looked up these definitions. These definitions prior to that ain't mentioned nothing about India. Unless you're talking about India over here. Okay. So they're connecting America with India. America, India, depending on what they're saying. Indian Bay, plant of genus. That's Indian corn right there. So anybody that's eating corn, you're eating Indian corn. It is native here. All right. We have all these things right there. As you see, Indian hemp, a plant of the genus Apocynum, a cannabinum, having a milky juice and a tough, fibrous bark. Yeah, it does. Whence the name. The root is used in medicine and is both emetic and cathartic in properties. The variety of common hemp, cannabis indica. No, the indica. Yeah. All right. Let's play with the words a little bit. Let's have some fun. From which hashish is obtained. Wait a minute. Hashish? They said that was created in the Middle East. You had those Hashims, right? Those assassins, what they call assassins. They said they used to be high off hashish. going out there killing folk. That's where they get the term assassin from. All right. Indian ink, a substance brought chiefly from China. Oh, you got Indian stuff in China? Come on now. Now we get into my American history. You got it. Come on now. We make it make sense. We make it make sense. Oh, all this stuff. Oh, we're going to go through this. We're going to have fun with this stuff. We're going to have fun. We are going to have fun. We are going to have fun. All right, people. What time is it? 3:53. All right, so what was that? About an hour and a half. Not bad. Not bad. I know it's a little, I was a little slow with it, but it was a lot of information. You know what I'm saying? I had to get on it just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But once you guys go play it back and read it all and look at it all the way through, it's going to flow. Yep. That's good business. Appreciate that. That's right, Derek. Yep. Where else? Let me go up a little bit. Yep. Okay, so don't forget the 1843 OED too. Okay. The Oxford edition. All right. All right. As it said, North Africa. Oh, yeah. We was talking about that. Yep. I know. Interesting, ain't it? I don't know if Darvis is here, but I can't get none of them links. He had to post them. He posted them things before I went live. Yep. He said, white became a people. Uh-huh. See what I'm saying? These dictionaries, they'll get you. I know a lot of people like to philosophize on it, but yeah. North Africa is like Egypt. Yep, exactly. Like people don't really know how high Egypt is in Africa. They always think of it low. Egypt is up there. It's north. That is North Africa. It's more what you call Northeast Africa. Yeah, so you're right about that, is. Ina said, yep. What it is and say here. She said, where Naughty at? Indians is applied to a native of the American continent. Yeah. Naughty cool. But I got to get him some time. You know what I'm saying? I got to get him some time. I'm damn near instructable. Let me pop these real quick. I'm kind of good, ain't I? Am I kind of good? Kind of good. You know what I'm saying? But yep. So it says, white became a people the same year as free Negro, black, righteous. With that, the American engine created the American engine. That's right. What did Enoch say? They were trying to do the switcheroo back then. Indus and Indies are not the same. I have Hindus that come to my class. They don't subscribe to that until they come to America. They are ordered to. Okay. Right. Let's go history. Let's go ahead and, hopefully everybody gonna like what we was doing. Putting these things up there. I don't know what's going on with this dang old computer. But yeah. So we utilize words, loosely and really don't understand the meaning of them. But if we understand what the words mean, then there's no more discussion. Yep, appreciate it, E-Nuts. But there shouldn't be no discussion anymore. We know what it is. Can't say, well, they're not Native Americans. We got to get out of our feelings. You need to do that. Where know your business at? Business, make sure you holler at, know you got know your business number. Send her a text message. Make sure she cool. All right. But yeah, you understand what these definitions mean. It's So there's no more discussion about it. There ain't no East India is over there. We have the dictionary. If you got a problem, I'll add me. I will carry this 1865 Webster Dictionary with me, along with the 1828 and this white thing. That was created. So now we know when it came in place. There definitely wasn't any time before what you would consider to be creation in the United States, unless these white people was actually somebody else that then incorporated other people to be a part of that white class, if you will. But I know one thing, it's not in Webster's dictionary. It's in law, though. It's in the Black's Law Dictionary as a free white person. So there you go. All right, y'all, but we're about to put this music on, and as I always say, when the songs is over, it's over. All right, tomorrow we'll do something. We'll have an open panel discussion. Come on up, we'll holler, talk about it. All right, y'all set the tone. All right, y'all, in a minute.
We want freedom by any means necessary. We want justice by any means necessary. We want equality by any means necessary. We don't feel that in 1964, living in a country that is supposedly based upon freedom and supposedly the leader of the free world, we don't think that we should have to sit around and wait for
all of your assets, you have to protect it. Just set your trust up, come get your status corrected. Yeah, you know we moving more than mountains. Fuck your school, fuck your voting system, fuck your water fountains. Melanin, I know you heard of me. You can never murder me. I want that gold you owe me now and gold from 1933. I want y'all to stand on all of the treaties that you sold to me. Cause we was already here, y'all came on a boat to me. And know this God-given land we all holding fee. Simple, absolute gratitude, your majesty. I am not in my straw man, you not controlling me. Certified, signed, sealed, stamped by the notary. Don't try to lie to my face like you ain't just a colonist who tricked us with contracts, but you fail to acknowledge it. And history books of fertilizer, one big pile of shit. Acting like you freed us from slavery, but ain't abolished it. The plantation just got renovated. Driver's license and passports are the new slave papers. How they foreclosing on the ones they gave acres. We allowed them entry, even trusted them as neighbors. They took everything from us and made us ask for favors, and posed as the only helping hand that's there to save us. Boycott, don't try to keep up with the fad, cause the money that we save, the properties that we rehab. Tears don't fall from my eyes, cause they see our what, but they don't see our why. You was born in June, but I only seen July. Influenced by bad spirits like a DUI. You ain't do no estate planning, but you think you fly. Now we gon' need 3 fish fries to see you die. We the revolt, boy, don't play with me. The time is now, this royalty over slavery.
Don't move it. Don't move it. Don't move it. Yeah. Don't move it. Don't move it. Don't move it.
I'm the coach, quotes coded in oak with a ghost loaded focus. Chrome in the coat, king with the cloak, smoking that hocus pocus. Infinite styles, pivot and pile up the mileage. I'm wild with the science. You see the line on my avatar, iron jaw pride. I to devour the silence. Why you niggas steady lying? Got me laughing hard, satire and fraud. I fire the squad. Wise get crossed when I'm sparring with all the guards. Author of art, carving a mark in the bark of the market at large. Target the sharks, heart of a Spartan. I sharpen the margin with bars. You rather bargain and dodge. I'd rather you come get your taxes done. Black suit back, room facts in a stack. I'm relaxing the maximum. Get out of the pocket, the profit of rocket. Then I just might tax you punks. Bracket your funds, I'm stacking in chunks. Reacting to ashes, you're begging to punch. Sometimes my community hard-headed, scarred, dreading the lessons. I chart head and start spreading the message, embedded in pressure. Sovereign living, I'm private with it. No corporate percentage. Discharging debt with a pen stroke. You still don't notice the vision. I've been telling y'all you don't want to debate me. Weighty and ready. Great with machetes, linguistically shredding the petty. Grab
these 15 acres. Landscape major, plan made paper, land patent stamped and sacred. Since my campaign greater, I ain't talking about Ice-T when I say that I can show you law and order. Court recorder, I sort the torture, contort the border. I eat the case, beat the state, leave a trace of the raw supporter. Briefcase aura, got your baby mama thinking that I'm a lawyer. Seminole Indian sentiment, militant on sovereign soil. Private enrollment, tribal component. I'm the boss if you're trying to employ it.